As I speak to you now, it appears that Joe Biden is on his way to win the electoral votes of Pennsylvania, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada, and become our next president. He is also winning the popular vote by over 4 million votes, a number which will likely go over 5 million when all the votes are counted. As I've said many times, this election was not just about Joe Biden versus Donald Trump and what their views on the issues were. This election went much, much deeper than that. It was an election about whether we end pathological lying in the White House and retain democracy and the rule of law in our country. And thank God, it appears that we have done that. In the days and weeks to come, I am sure that everyone in the world is going to be taking credit for Biden's apparent victory, and the media and the pundits will have their views as well. But let me just say this. I want to take this opportunity to thank progressive grassroots organizations all across this country for their extraordinary efforts in helping to make this victory possible. You made the phone calls, you texted, you registered voters, you did virtual rallies, you distributed literature, and you knocked on doors when possible. Knowing the importance, the extraordinary importance of this election, you did everything that you could and more. Together, you built widespread support for Biden among young people, people of color, and the working class of our country. In my view, Biden's success would not have been possible without your extraordinary efforts, and I just want to thank you very much for the incredible hard work that you did. And one of the areas, by the way, where the progressive movement had real success was getting more and more young people into the voting booths and into the political process. The latest estimates that I have seen show that over 53% of young people ages 18 to 29 voted, which not only eclipses 2016's turnout rate, but would be the highest youth turnout rate in American history. And by the way, those young people voted overwhelmingly for Joe Biden and other Democrats. But tonight, as we celebrate our apparent election victory, we understand that our struggle is not over. It has just begun. We have accomplished much, but much more needs to be done. Now, not only do we have to win the 2 Senate runoff elections in Georgia coming up in January so that we can have Democratic control over the Senate, but we're going to have to do everything humanly possible to make sure that Congress and the new president move rapidly and aggressively to address the enormous crises facing our country. In the next several weeks, I will present to the Senate an agenda that I would like to see passed in the first 100 days of the new Congress. This is an agenda that, among many other proposals, will include a strong COVID-19 relief package that protects the unemployed and small businesses. It is an agenda that will end starvation wages in America, make it easier for workers to join unions, and provide equal pay for equal work. It is a people's agenda that will create millions of good-paying jobs as we rebuild our crumbling infrastructure. It is an agenda that makes health care as a human right as we move toward a Medicare for all single-payer program, and an agenda that substantially lowers the outrageously high cost of prescription drugs in this country. It is an agenda that will make possible for all working-class young people to gain a college education without going into debt. And it will radically improve our dysfunctional child care system. It is an agenda that will create millions of good jobs as we lead the world in combating climate change and transforming our energy system away from fossil fuel into energy efficiency and sustainable energy. It is an agenda that will finally demand that the wealthiest people and largest corporations in America start paying their fair share of taxes. It is an agenda that will take on the systemic racism that prevails throughout our country, as well as our broken and racist criminal justice system. It is an agenda that will lead to comprehensive immigration reform and a path toward citizenship for the undocumented. There is an enormous amount of work that must be done. And as we go forward, I look forward to working with all of you. So once again, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate everyone who played a role in making this enormously important victory possible. Thank you for all that you have done. Let's go forward together.